Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. Yes, it is Saturday. It's not Friday, our usual night. But today is the Business Expo. It is, of course, virtual. We are here. All the speakers are here, minus one, but it's cool. We're going to do this. So you guys go ahead and tag all your business owner friends, family members, all your entrepreneur buddies. Everybody get your notebooks out, get your pen and paper to take notes. I have mine. And so I am ready to learn and absorb all of this knowledge that these ladies have. So you guys get the tagging and get the sharing, so we can get a lot of people on here. And so at the end, we'll have a Q&A, a very brief Q&A session. So you guys can ask all the questions about the different points that they're going to be talking about. And so that way you leave here, you'll have more knowledge, you'll be motivated, and you will feel like that you can conquer the world. Look at this blonde hair, y'all. It's my birthday. So yeah, go ahead, tag and share. I'll be right back.
You are now watching PNN Polished News Network.
You are now watching PNN Polished News Network.
Hey, yo! You are now watching PNN Polished News Network. You dig?
Do you want to be polished?
You are now watching PNN, the Polished News Network.
You are now watching PNN Polished News Network.
Do you need to be polished?
You are now watching PNN Polished News Network.
You just gotta be polished.
PNN!
You are now watching PNN Polished News Network.
You are now watching PNN Polished News Network.
You are now watching PNN Polished News Network.
Polished News Network.
Polished News Network.
PNN.
PNN.
PPN.
PPN.
PNN?
Polished News Network. Look at the Jordans. Look at the gun. This is all cap.
Yeah. Okay.
3 out of 5 grandmothers approve.
All right, y'all. Happy Saturday. So yeah, so my daughter's birthday is today. And so after this, we're supposed to get cake and cookies and chicken wings and ice cream wasted. So I'm super excited about that. I think more than she is, but whatever. But yeah, thank you, Estina. Ladies and gentlemen, Estina Jamison Gloss Cosmetics LLC in the house. What you said, girl? So yeah, So you guys go ahead, tag and share. We're gonna get started. I'm not sure if I got Tamitra on here or not. Let me try. Nope. Try again, Tamitra. Try again, girl. Keep trying. We gonna get you on here. All right. So we're on here every Friday night. We have a segment. We're gonna start having new segments, and I'm super excited about it. And it's pretty much going to include all the ladies that are on here. They just don't know it yet. But yeah, so it's a news network. So you gotta have news and stuff to talk about, right? So we'll do our regular Friday nights with interviews and live discussions. And then we're going to start incorporating, since we are entrepreneurs, we're our business owners, we're going to start incorporating. Wait, hold on. What you say? You got a sale? Oh, she has a sale, Lord. So y'all go to glosscosmetics.com and go ahead and get your lashes, get your lip gloss, get all that good stuff. She has the best. Hey, Renee, how you doing, girl? Hey, Quenisha. Look at all these entrepreneurs on here. Yes, we running the world. All right, let me calm down. I'm too excited. Bring it down. All right. It's my birthday weekend. I'm turned up. Okay, anyway, let me stop yelling. Okay, so we're going to start having different segments. One of them is going to be featuring the lovely Jennifer Briggs of Nicole's Designs. She is on here. She is one of the speakers. So we're gonna have a segment that's gonna talk and help you with marketing and branding. And she ain't gonna give you all of her stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to pay for that. Okay. So, and then another segment we're going to have is going to be the road to self-sufficiency, because we are entrepreneurs, we are business owners. Hey, Maddie girl. So we are business owners. And so we are, we're trying to not rely on the man so much. So we're going to talk about gardening and farming and all that good stuff. And you can start with growing your herbs, blah, 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 blah. And then you guys, Dr. Latoya Smith has on Tuesdays, she has a platform called Strong Witness, where you can go on, and it's a storytelling series where you can tell your stories and everything. So that's been super phenomenal every Tuesday night. So let's get into this thing. All right. Okay, Estina says she's looking for marketing too. Girl, Estina, meet Jennifer. Jennifer, meet Estina. Boom. There's your marketing guru right there. All right. So let me see something. Try again, Tamitra. Okay. So without further ado. Okay, so without further ado, I forgot to mention the code for 50% off is late night. Okay, look, come on, Gloss Cosmetics, you sell it, girl, you sell it. So remind me to say it at the end too, Estina, so that way I can get everybody over there to your page. So without further ado, we're gonna get this thing started and rolling good. I'm gonna step back off the screen, just like we would do if we was in person. Y'all better believe next year we're gonna do this thing in person. What you said is going to be phenomenal, but we had to take the proper precautions, and I won't let oh wait, I was reading something. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me check it. So yeah, we want to take the proper precautions. I didn't want nobody to say that I came to Alicia's event and I got COVID. Some people are shady weighty like that. So I was like, no, let me back up. Be smart. Virtual. Right? Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to step aside and let the lovely see, you encouraging me to act up, okay, Jen? Okay, so without further ado, you guys, hold on. Your brand visual strategist. I wrote it down. Introducing 5'9". No, I'm just playing. Okay, for real. Introducing Jennifer Briggs, the owner of Nicole's Designs. Hey, Jen.
Hi, I'm over here cracking up at you today. And happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you, darling.
I'll try not to cut up too bad, but you started, so I
I
feel like
know.
I have to now.
I know it's bad. I can't help. But yeah, so I'm gonna let you take the floor,
Okay,
and you just lead and guide me what you want me to do, and
ma'am.
go ahead. Wait, where's my phone? I'm gonna time y'all.
Hey, sometimes that's what you got to do.
Right.
So, ma'am, are you sharing the presentation or do I need to? Where'd you go, lady? Please, if you don't mind. Thank you very much. Yay! That's so very helpful. Well, hi everyone. As you can see, my name is Jennifer Briggs. I am the owner of Nicole Designs, and today we are going to, I miss you too, Madison. Today we're going to talk a little bit about branding for your dream client. And just as someone mentioned before, this is going to tie in a little bit to marketing, but we're not going to get into marketing all the way, but more so just talking about how building your brand identity is going to help you with your marketing. Do you mind going to the next slide, please, ma'am? So you've heard a lot of people say your brand is more than a logo, and that is actually true. It's really nice to come in and to have your logo created, but you're always going to need more than that. I remember when I started as a business owner, I had a logo and that's all I had. I didn't know anything about fonts, color palettes, making a brand identity. I just knew that I wanted to get myself out there and I knew that I needed a logo so that people could recognize who I was. However, that isn't going to help people recognize you. There's more that goes into branding than you just having a logo. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Next. So we all want our brands to stand out, but what does that mean for you? Next. So, like I said, this workshop is about understanding the importance of brand visuals and how it can attract your dream clients. And when I say dream clients, I mean the people that you want to work with, the people who have no issue paying with your services, the people who aren't going to haggle you for the pricing or ask for discounts because you their cousin. Those people, the people who are always going to say yes to you every single time, and you don't have to do anything other than ask them, when do you need me? Where can I get in your schedule? Next, please. As you can see, that's me. I'm the creative director and founder of Nicole Designs. I use creative director as a part of my title because a lot of the times when it comes to working with clients, I am responsible for the entire creative direction of their brand. That includes down to the visual images that they need for their brand. So I kind of go back and forth between brand visual strategist and creative director, just kind of depending on where I'm needed. Next. So let's talk about what a brand identity is. Next. So your brand identity is a collection of all elements that a business creates to portray the right image to its ideal client. So your brand identity consists of your logo, your color palette, your fonts, and your brand photography. When it comes to having a logo, you need three. You need a main logo, an alternate logo, and a submark. Thank you. Because your logo isn't going to fit everywhere that you need it to be, especially when it's the longest version of your logo. So, for example, for me, my full logo is Nicole, and then below it, it says Design Studio. If I try to put that whole logo on Instagram or something that's for Instagram, it's not going to fit. So I have a logo that just has an N and it says Design Studio. That's my alternate logo. So just depending on where you need to place things, especially when it comes to if you want digital collateral or you're putting things on actual collateral like pins or I'm thinking notepads or bags, you have to have different variations of your logo so that way everything can fit and you're not having to scramble trying to resize your logo to fit everything. You can just have three that helps you with that. So next. So I talked about that a little bit. Again, your brand identity includes your website, your social profiles, your print and digital collateral, any other visuals related to your business like merchandise or branded courses. We can even take a look at Alicia's platform in the background. That's her branding. That needs to be on everything that she does, and she knows that because I've taught her that. But that goes for everyone else too. Every single time you put yourself out there, you need to have your brand visuals together because we are a visual people, and that's how people recognize who you are from your visual identity. And the way to have a consistent visual identity is to make sure that your brand is built across every single platform you use, and every single platform will allow you to add your branding in some way, shape, or fashion, whether it be Google, Gmail, Facebook. I use a CRM, which is a customer management system called Honeybook. It lets me brand myself. Email newsletters, if you need to send emails to people, that needs to be branded. Your signature at the end of your email needs to be branded. Everything needs to be branded. Think about yourself as one of those businesses that you shop with regularly, and every single thing that you buy for them or every single time they send you an email, everything is branded. That's what your small business needs to look like too. Next. Again, anything you want to present to your clients visually in relation to your business needs to reflect your brand identity. At this point, I would like to say, if you want your brand to go to the highest place that you need for it to go, that you've envisioned for the next year, for the next 3 years, your branding needs to be together because companies are looking for more authentic, smaller businesses. And when you have your branding together, they put that above everything else. So for example, Estina, you have a product line, I believe I heard correctly, a makeup line. I'm not sure what your vision is, so I'm going to make one for you real quick. Say that you wanted to have your cosmetics in Sephora. If Sephora comes to you, they're going to want to know your branding. They're going to want to know, okay, if you have lip gloss, what needs to go on this lip gloss? How do you want it to look? How do you want it to be designed? They're going to take the control of making things for you to make it easy, but you still get to use your branding. And when your branding is together, all you got to say is, I need y'all to put this here. It needs to look like this, and then it needs to look like that. And if it doesn't look like that, then you can go to them and say, remember, we talked about this. This is my branding. This is what I said it needs to look like, and this don't look like this. So we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board and redo this. So situations like that, that's why you need to have your branding together. And for anyone else, as a business owner, if you see yourself being in a bigger space, your branding has to be together. It has to be top tier because that's what people are looking at and that's what they're looking for. Next. Credibility and stand out amongst your competitors. There are a lot of people that do what I do. I know that for a fact. I follow some of those people just because I like building a sense of community with the people that are other designers. But I also know that because I take the time to focus on my branding and to make sure that my branding is cohesive, I stand out among a lot of them. And to have a non-humble moment, most of the designers that I follow, because of the way that I design, they've reached out to me at some point to hire me to help them with their branding. So that's how I know that my shit is dope. And I expect the same for everyone else who's here today, for your shit to be dope, to where the people that you want to work with are looking for you. Next. So, the biggest secret to building your branding is thinking about who your ideal client is. And when I say ideal client, I mean, and sorry, y'all, I talk with my hands, but when I say ideal client, I mean the person that you envision. You're so welcome. The person that you envision that is always going to buy from you. In most cases, I would say choose at least two different types of ideal clients, but those people are going to be the people that you market to on a consistent basis because you know that they're always going to purchase what you're selling or invest in your services. So when you're thinking about building your brand visuals, that is what you need to do. And I'm reading this that's across the screen. Yes, exactly. If we're black owned, we finna have all of the African colors in our branding, so you know, and you don't have to guess that black people own this. That's just what it is, so that people know. Because like I don't want, not that it matters, but it's like I don't think that someone would mistake Brendan like that for it to be a white person. They're just not. Like it's just not. Um, so again, however, oh, you're welcome. However your branding fits for you, you also need to make sure you're thinking about your client and not just, oh, I want to choose these colors for me because I like them. And it's like, no, you need to choose the colors that attract the type of people that you want to invest in you. Next. So things to think about when you're thinking about your ideal client is if your brand was a person, what kind of personality would it have? And then next, if your brand was a person, how would it communicate? This is one of the questions that when I'm working with my clients, I ask them, describe your ideal client, describe the person who is going to buy from you. Where do they work? How much do they make? Where do they shop? What do they love to do? What are their passions? What are their hobbies? Because when you start thinking about that particular person, it makes it so much easier to cater your brand visuals to that particular person, because you're saying, hey, look at me, you're my ideal client, I know you are, all you got to do is come over here and I got everything that you need. That is exactly what your branding is supposed to do. It is supposed to speak for you without you having to sell yourself. Like when you go get a car, and if you go even look at a car, they're trying to get you to take a car off that lot. That is what your branding does. It makes people, ooh, I really need that. Even if I ain't got the money for it, I'm going to figure out how to get that money because I really need that. Next. Thank you. This is a big thing for me. If your brand visuals are all over the place, you'll attract too many audiences. So I'll give you some of my business. When I first started out, I didn't know who I was talking to. I had no clue who I was talking to. I just knew that I wanted to design and I was going to put myself out there on Instagram and see if I got clients. My very first client was a jerk. She wanted me to make social media templates for her. So because I was so excited and I got my first client, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna design for somebody. I'm gonna make something for somebody. I was so proud of myself. I made the design. And you know what she told me? She said, I could have made these myself. What? What? Now, granted, I can take the criticism and say maybe I didn't put my best foot forward in that. However, if you are hiring me to do something for you, no, no, it wasn't. You're hiring me to do something for you. Get You should trust in me that I'm going to make something for you that you can use. And the trust wasn't there for that. So from those experiences, I make sure that I target my ideal client so that I don't have to go through things like that. And again, I've also had people who want to haggle me. Branding is an investment. Every single brand strategist, brand visual strategist, graphic designer that you work with, they're going to tell you that branding is an investment. It's the best investment that you can make besides doing your business plan. So you can get the types of people that you need to see you and have eyes on you instead of you scrambling every day trying to figure out who you going to talk to today, or who you going to market to today. And then you got all these people who you have to convince to buy things from you, when again, really all you should be doing is sending invoices. Next. So we're going to talk about the basic visuals you need after your business plan. So next. Logo. We talked about this. So the logo is what sets the tone for the rest of your brand. So when you're looking at your logo, everything that follows after that is going to build off of the logo and expand your brand identity. So you want to make sure that your logo reflects exactly who you say you are as a brand. And I said this the last time that I was on with Alicia, and to me personally, when you don't invest in a brand designer, you are or a brand visual strategist. We'll talk about that title later too if I have some more time. But when you don't take the time to invest in getting your logo done and making sure that it speaks to who you are, your logo turns people away and off. And I'm not here for people having logos that look like they were made with their feet. I can't do that. I don't want people to do that. I want your logo to scream, this is who I am, as soon as people see it. I want them to understand your vibe, who you are, your mission, your vision. I really want people to be able to say, okay, I know exactly what she does, or I know exactly what type of experience I'm going to have from looking at her logo. Yes, I definitely think that's a good idea to start interviewing your potential clients, because there are a lot of people who will reach out to you and they're just not a good fit. And I think that's one thing that I've also learned as a business owner, that it is okay to tell somebody, you know what, I am not a good fit for you, or I don't think that we're a good fit for each other. You save yourself the trouble of having hassles with people who won't respect what you're doing. There's one designer that I follow in particular, and her inquiry form says that you understand that you will be working with me for a period of 2 months. And you also understand that this conversation is to determine that whether or not we're a good fit, not that I'm going to move forward with services. When you start thinking about yourself like that as a business owner, it makes your life so much easier. Like, to me, when you're a small business owner, the customer isn't always right. They're just not. They're just not a good fit. And this is my business, and I'm not going to work with someone who is going to be micromanaging me or telling me what I need to do, and I'm the expert. Like, you hired me to help you, so how we gonna do this if you gonna tell me what I need to be doing? So I agree. Please start talking to these people. Start screening these people. Thank you. Next. That part too, yes. Having conversations with your clients will help you understand what they're looking for, and also to make sure that they understand what you do. I think, again, personally, because my title is what it is, because I'm a brand visual strategist, people don't think that I build brand identities, which is okay for me. I get it. But the reason that I focused more on that is because I noticed that a lot of people were having their brands made and the visuals didn't do anything. Like, everything from their logo to their fonts, it's boring. It doesn't tell me who they are. It doesn't bring any emotion out of me. It doesn't communicate anything to me. It looks like, okay, this is your business. And that's not who I am as a designer. And that's not what I want the people that work with me to experience. I want them to have their brand front and in the center for people to know exactly what you do, because it's showcased in your visuals. But that's definitely a good point, because sometimes people just don't know, and you save yourself the heartache. Yep, that's definitely it. The colors will help speak to you. a whole lot. So speaking of, and thank you for that, Joe, we're going to segue into building the visuals for a brand identity. So this is a brand identity that I created when I had a shop where I was offering services for pre-made brand identities. So what that means is that you would get everything already created for you. The only thing that would be updated is the name and the logo and the color palette, but everything else was already done and pre-made for you. So that way, if you needed branding, but you didn't have the budget to invest in all of the branding, then here's a brand identity that's already okay. Sorry, reading the comments as they're coming across the screen. But so that you could already have everything to go so you could get started. So for this particular brand, it was called Ashton Simmons, a name I made up, but she is a makeup artist. And so for her, her brand is makeup can help women feel like their best selves, the kind of modern and fearless woman that takes what's theirs and doesn't look back. That would count as her brand mission and her brand story. In that, I'm explaining to you what type of brand experience that you should expect from this person. The language that I'm using is extremely bold. So the feeling that you should get from that is that when you go to this particular makeup artist, your looks are going to be fierce. That she is going to give you the best makeup that you've ever seen in your entire life because of how she is being marketed to her target audience. Next. So this would be her logo. So that is an A and Ashton Simmons. And instead of it, again, working with a lot of beauty brands, they're some of my favorites. I noticed that a lot of them are, it's makeup artistry or it's makeup artist. And again, you want to do something that's going to make you stand out. So I chose makeup architecture. Exactly. And simplicity is the best. Making it so that people can easily see what your name is, who you are, and what you do. And I'm going to give you a tip that I learned from a conference that I took a couple years ago. Um, she is also a graphic designer. And one of the things that she said is that you can really be whoever you want to be when it comes to your business. You can make up whatever title you want to make up for yourself. And she said the reason that you make up your own title is because it makes people curious as to what that means and who you are. Hence, again, why I am a brand visual strategist, because I wanted people to say, wait a minute, a brand visual strategist, what is that? And how are you different from a brand strategist? I'm so glad you asked. But again, that's why I chose makeup architecture instead of makeup artistry, makeup artist, because I want people to know that when you come to me, my makeup looks like architecture on your face. Like I sat up there and I planned everything out. I put every bit of bronzer in the right place. I did me some contour in the right places. Like I am phenomenal at what I do. And I want to make sure that you understand that from when you see my logo. Next. So now we're going to talk about the color palette. So for this particular color palette, I decided to work with one of the colors that I secretly like, but don't tell nobody because I will be cheating on my favorite color, which is pink. So next. Red is one of my favorite colors that I like to see on things. I just don't tell a lot of people that because I'm supposed to like pink. Like I've been liking pink since I was 16. So it's my second favorite color. But again, if I'm giving you fierceness and boldness and makeup architecture, my color palette needs to reflect that. Yes, ma'am. The color palette needs to reflect that boldness. And red is an extremely bold color. It's a color that you can't unsee. It's a color that does not go unnoticed. It's usually a color that most people like. Most people, when we start talking about red or blue and, not being gang affiliated, most people like one of those colors over the other. But of course, there's always your personal favorite. But again, if you ask somebody red or blue, they're going to choose one or the other, not both. So that is why I chose to use that as the main color for that particular brand. Next. So let's talk about fonts. So I'm going to let you guys absorb the font that's on my screen. Right. And I used to like red cars too. So yeah, no, I was doing all sorts of things wrong with that. But it's just red looks so pretty on cars. Just makes cars look sexy. I don't know. But anyways, so this particular font that is a part of my brand, it is called, and I'm gonna need y'all to write this down so that you can remember it. It is called a serif font. When you are using serifs, you're wanting your brand to look more high end and luxury. It is a serif because at the ends of all of the fonts, they have a tail. So if you look at the F, that little bitty line that's at the bottom of the F, that's a tail. So that's why it's called a serif. I can repeat that again for anybody who needs to keep writing it, or I was talking too fast. It is SERIF as in Frank. Can you tell I used to do customer service? It's L as in Larry, N as in Nancy, P as in Paul. Cool. So next, please. So your fonts come in different weights and variations. So most of your fonts usually come in a regular and a bold and an italic. But once you start going into the fonts that are specific for your brand, you really have a variety to choose from. So next. So here's in most fonts, again, for this particular font, I chose a font called Josephine Sands, and we'll talk about that font name in a minute. But that font came in regular, light, and bold. So regular is probably the font that you're going to use most often. It's going to be the font that's used on your website. It's going to be the font that you use on any digital collateral, anything that you use in an email or a newsletter. Light is a font that you can use as a part of a header, just depending on how you flex with it. Sometimes using the lighter weights of a font help give another look and feel, and the same with bold. Bold is just like people type into you in all caps, you are yelling. So you have to be really careful about what you put in bold because it's really going to pop, and you want to make sure that it's something that you want to pop versus something that you don't want to pop. So I told you that I would talk a minute about this type of font. This type of font is called a sans serif. So sans is S-A-N as in Nancy S. It is a sans serif, which in Latin means without. So it does not have the tails. So notice there are no little lines across the bottom of that font. When you are using a sans serif, it is because you want your brand to look more modern. You want it to be more hip or fun. So to me, the easiest way that I think about it is a serif is a luxury font. A sans serif is a modern font. So depending on what the vibe of your brand is, those are the fonts that you would want to stick with, or make sure that if you decide to work with a brand designer, that you're aware of the types of fonts that will make your brand look and feel a certain way. I know that here lately, the trends that I'm seeing is a lot more brands are wanting to look more luxury just because it attracts a different type of client, and most likely a client who is willing to invest in the services you offer without haggling. So that's something for you to consider too. Next. Again, talking about it being on your website, you want your website to be readable. I've seen a lot of websites where people will use scripted fonts where people are supposed to read things, and it just doesn't work. I know someone in my life right now who does not read cursive because it's hard to read. So that's something to think about too. Yeah, the font is really cool, but when nobody can read it, that doesn't matter. No one's going to want to invest in you or buy anything from you because they can't even read what you're offering or what things say. Next. And again, a good brand identity uses fonts to communicate its mission and vision, since most of the time your clients are going to read about you on your website. You all I can think of is everything that your ideal client touches, and when it includes your branding, it is supposed to set the tone for the vibe of your business. And visual identity does that every single time without fail. Next. This is my personal favorite: photography. Um, iPhones and Androids have come a long way. They cost a lot of money and they take a whole lot of beautiful pictures. But if you don't know what you're doing, you need to find somebody who could take beautiful pictures of your products for you so that they look, yay, so that your images are clean and crisp, especially if you are on Instagram, which at this point everybody should have an Instagram account, because Instagram is usually the first place people go to learn more about your business if they're not going to Facebook. So next. These are the photography images that could be used for the Ashton Simmons brand. In particular, since she's a makeup artist, I chose photos that involve makeup, also give it a little bit of a vibe with the goals and the creams and the fun structure of the purse. Also, again, because she's a makeup artist, because one of her brand colors is red, because makeup and fashion tend to go together, we can also put in fashion elements too that pick up on the red that is a part of her branding. Again, these can be used as background images for when you're putting things on Instagram or when you're branding your newsletter or your website. These are all the things to consider when you are getting your photography together. And yes, having a photographer for your products is probably your best bet. Again, I know there are things that you can buy to do your own product photography, but you really want to take that off of your plate so that you're not spending all of your time trying to figure out how you're going to get these photos to look right when you can hire somebody who is supposed to get your photos to look right every single time. But again, I also know that's an investment, but I'm going to just say your business is an investment. You're always going to have to invest in it at some point, and you want to invest in your branding as soon as you can so that you can spend the rest of the time working on building out the rest of your business and the vision that you have for yourself. Next. So this is the whole brand identity together. So it's her logo, it's her color. That's the rest of her color palette. So I added in some light pink, some yellows. I would say that's more like a seafoam green, blacks, grays, and whites. And again, the fonts, it's Josephine Sands. So we're using regulars, lights, and bolds for any of her branding, whether that be on her website, again, digital collateral, newsletters, Instagram graphics. Um, if she ships something and it requires a thank you letter, it's going to have those fonts in it as well. Next. Again, if you don't remember anything else, if your brand visuals are all over the place, you will attract, and I'm going to say it, raggedy ass people. When your branding is not together, you will attract the types of people you do not want to work with or talk to. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. When you start putting your branding out there and you look clean and polished and put together, you deter some of those people because they can look at your brand and already know that they can't afford you. And that's what we're looking for. Not the people who want to come to you and ask you, do you got a special or coupons or discounts or when is friends and family day? No, the price is the price. And if you cannot afford to pay that, then there is probably someone else who is a better fit for you than me. Next. Remaining consistent will help keep that message and will help keep your messaging together as an overall business. Again, the one thing that I can say from learning to build my own brand from Instagram and helping clients with their branding is that you want to make sure that you are showcasing yourself as the expert for whatever it is that you're doing or whatever it is that you're offering. You know what you sell forwards and backwards, left, right, up and down, and no one can tell you anything about it. Of course, with the exception of you learning more information to give to your audience, but there isn't anyone who can stop you from being the knowledgeable person that you are. You want to look, they call it a thought leader. Has anyone heard of that word before? You want to be a thought leader for whatever it is that your business does. So I think about you, Alicia, and Buff Daddy Floors. I know there's some stuff that y'all can tell me about floors that I do not know. But because you've worked with floors, because you study floors, because you know everything that's needed to get those floors as clean as possible, I'm going to trust you with my floors because I know you know that information. And in order for other people to trust you with your floors, that's the type of information that you got to showcase, that we know what I was sorry, it was your birthday. I was finna drop an F bomb. Hold on. That we know what the hell we are doing, and we are good at what the hell we are doing. Next. So let's talk about some common branding mistakes that I have seen in working with clients and then seeing lots of brands online. So next. I'm in love with this new script font and I'm going to use it on my Instagram post this week. Don't change your fonts. Don't change your fonts every single time you see one that you like. Don't get me wrong. I love fonts. Fonts are so pretty. Every day they probably come out with a new font. Especially script fonts. They're loopy. They just look pretty on everything. But if I change my font every single day, people are going to think that my life is all over the place. Like literally. You don't understand how much people judge you based on your branding being together or not. And you best believe that if you're changing your fonts every day, somebody's going to look at you and think, dang, she don't know how to run a business, or dang, he don't know how to run a business. His branding changing every day. And there goes a potential client because you look like you don't have your stuff together. Next. Again, ditching your branding together without a plan, it is that disastrous. It will look like you are a business owner that is all over the place and that you don't know what you're doing whatsoever. Next. I need a website like yesterday. I can just put something up really quickly. Don't do that either. Your website is the second place people go to learn about what you do and who you are. And again, if your website looks like you put this much thought into it, people aren't going to want to buy from you. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that there are lots of experiences where that doesn't happen. You can have a website that looks like you put this much thought into it and people will still buy from you. But that's not the goal. They might buy from you one time and after that they're turned off because you don't have your website together. And then even better, the way that your website is built, it should be built in a way that is in the flow of where you want people to go. So when you think about building a website, think about yourself as a customer and the ideal experience and steps you want people to take to get to you. So from start to finish, the people get on your website, then they go here, 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 and then they buy here. All those steps in between, the first page of your website needs to set people up to follow the direction of where you want them to go. That's called your user experience. Right, exactly. You didn't know what they were selling and stuff was all over the place. And it's like, ugh, how I know you're not going to take my money and run off because your website looks like it's all over the place. That's real. Like I won't buy from places where the website looks like somebody made it in 0.5 seconds because I don't trust you. You didn't put any effort into your website. How do I know that you're not going to take my money and give me nothing? So that's something to think about too when you're putting your website together. But again, it's a trajectory that people need to follow in order to be able to buy from you. And so that's the importance of building your website that way. That's a way that you'll get all of the sales that you need, because you're just grabbing people's attention every single time they're on your website. And as they're moving through your website, you're basically engaging them the further they go to your website. Another tip, the goal is to get people to scroll the entire first page of your website and not to click away. Because if they click away, that's a potential sale that's lost. So you want to make sure that people aren't clicking away because your website was made with this much effort. Next, again, I think I touched on that. Have a look and feel for your website so that people will want to stay and want to buy from you. Next, I can do the branding myself or find those cheap sites to do it for me. Next, your brand identity is literally the first impression of your business. Like I can't not say that. It just is. There's no denying that. That's not a myth. That's a fact. As soon as people go to wherever they can find you, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, your website, even from your emails, people are already judging what level of service that you can provide for them, like just without question. And so I used to talk to people about DIYing their brands, like doing it themselves. Like I even have a course for that. But eventually I had to tell people, when you're a business owner, you don't really have the time to do your own branding. Like you literally don't. So you're going to do your own branding, plus do all the invoices, plus send out all the contracts, plus do all the finances, plus keep up with whatever it is. Say, for example, again, Estina, I'm gonna borrow you today. Say, for example, there's a new cosmetic that you want to have a sample of and take a look at and try out. You don't have time to be going back and forth every day to figure out what you're going to do with your brand visuals. You have to keep your business running. So I don't want anybody to do it themselves if you don't have to. Again, I also do understand that branding is an investment. And so if it's not something that's within your budget, I get that too. I still say invest in allowing someone else to do it, and please stay off of Fiverr. I know that Fiverr is a place that everybody goes to because it is a place where you can get a logo done for really inexpensive. But the thing about that is these are logos that sometimes they're recycling for different brands. So you could pay $20 for a logo, but you and Sally and Harry and Larry and Bob and Tina all have some variation of that logo. So then it's not unique to you. You've got a brand identity that's not unique to you. It's just one. Exactly. They start all looking the same. And then you're upset because you see your branding somewhere else and it's the exact same. It just has a different name. So please take the time to look in your budget and figure out what you're going to do for branding because you need it. Next. So here are some real life examples of people that I follow, and their branding on Instagram is always together without a question. So next, Woman Evolve. That is literally the Instagram name, and that is Sarah Jakes Roberts. Without a doubt, everything on that page is branded from start to finish. It is not branded. I have never seen anything on her Instagram page not branded. That is the most likely the reason that I found her account in the first place, is because how heavily it is branded. Now it looks like maybe every 3 to 6 months she'll change some of her branding up, which is good because she has the liberty to do that. But whoever is working with her, they still keep the branding consistent for everything that gets posted. Next, Planoly. This is a visual planning app. So when you're on Instagram and you are creating your content, you can use Planoly to put your content in there and schedule it out. So again, you can focus on running your business and not stopping every day to post something. Again, their branding is always put together. It always has all of their brand colors. It's always talking about different things you can do for planning. It's always giving you ideas about how to use Planoly in the first place. It's really an account that, again, from a visual perspective, I understand that this is an app that is going to allow me to plan. Well, I was like, I'll get to the question about it in a second. Next. And last but not least, this is Brittany Janine. She is one of my designer colleagues. She switched over from designing to becoming a business coach and a pivot strategist. And so now she's teaching people how to do that. The same, her branding, obviously, because she was a brand designer, her branding is on point. And especially with such a bold color with reds and blacks, she's done a really good job of not making it overpowering and not making it like, oh my God, it's so much red, like I can't function or focus. She's also on Instagram. Her Instagram is Brittany Janine, but someone else to check out so you can see how you can still have a brand that is full of red, but not make people's eyes bleed. Next. So, what do you do now? Next. If you haven't, start writing out your mission and your vision for your brand. Your mission is what you do. Your vision is going to be what the overall goal of your business is. So, what do you strive to do in your business? What's the overall major achievement that you want your brand to do or you want your business to showcase? Next. Use Pinterest to brainstorm ideas. Pinterest is full of different types of brand identities that you can get inspiration from. It is the homework that I give my clients when they first start working with me so I can get an understanding of visually where they see their brand. Of course, it's my responsibility to help bring that vision to life and make it a little bolder and a little bit more unique. But I at least want to know, okay, this is what you visually see your brand looking like. Now it's my job to make sure that I do that and also give you a little bit of flair because I like to work with brands that have authentic stories. Next. Don't rush the process. Like, I think the one thing that I see a lot of people market is when you've got a business, hurry up so you can put your website up in a week. When you don't hire somebody and you don't know what you're doing, your website looks like you put it up in a week. So take the time to really think about your branding because it really can make or break you and help. I would say not help you, but make sure that you get to the next level that you see for your brand and for your business. Next. So that is it. We're all done. Next. So I'm not sure if I'm supposed to open up the floor for questions, but I can and I will. Do I have enough time for that, ma'am? Okay. So I am open for questions that anyone has. Thank you. That is a good question. So I think that you should start considering rebranding when you are thinking about attracting a new type of audience or you're ready to take your business to the next level of where you see your business going. So I think, again, I started out with some raggedy ass logos, like they were super raggedy. But because I know who my ideal client is. I've upped my branding to reflect the type of people that I want to attract, because I want to start offering different levels of service and a different experience. Like, for example, I'm gonna let y'all in on a secret. So I just talked to a photographer because I want to start offering photography services with my brand clients, because a lot of the times it's they don't know a photographer, or they have a photographer and the photographer doesn't have the capability to give the look and the feel that I need. So what I am going to do is start adding photography into my services, as in you don't have a choice. It's included in the cost, and all we're going to do is schedule a time for you to I guess for you to do your photo shoot, because I'm not going to be altering photos that you took from your phone. So that was the long way around that question. But yes, once you're ready to start offering different levels of services, or you see that your business needs to move into the next level, that is when you need to start thinking about rebranding. Thank you. Planoly is not like Canva. Canva helps you to create your social media content. Most people use it for Instagram, so it's habit for me to say Instagram, but you can make content for Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, video, all of that on Canva. So it's to actually help you design things. Planoly is to help you plan out posting what you designed for Instagram. So Planoly is free, unless you need to post more often, or you need to post videos, like just depending on how heavily you're going to use it and the types of content that you're going to create. That's when you have to start paying for a subscription. So for example, Reels is the next thing that everyone's going to. So for Planoly, once you need to start posting reels, it does make you pay for the cost of the services. And yes, create the visual and then add it to Planoly. It'll also let you write the captions too ahead of time. And Estina, there's only one person that I know that does copywriting, and her name is Rita Olds. Like Olds with an S, like how it sounds, OLD as in David S. And then if not a copywriter, you can go to someone who does like full on marketing. Hey, ma'am. You're welcome. I can't hear you. You're talking, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I got like 4 pages of notes.
Joe, I hadn't noticed it yet. I unsubscribed from Joe Button, but what I do see, from what I remember seeing, it looked like he expanded out to actually having more of a network than just being Joe Button. And then my
here it is.
website, it's NicoleDesigns.co.
There you go, Stina. Look, see, I had it. I was ready.
And you're welcome.
Yep. That was really, really good. It was super, super hard, like trying to write down what you were saying, and then you're like, wait a second, I'm trying to write it.
Well, I appreciate you trying to click and write stuff down.
I was trying to take them notes. Yeah, so yeah, that was super dope. That was great, awesome information. I mean, that was a lot of information. Yeah. I mean, I can read what I wrote.
Yeah, and then, see, I was like, "Ooh, I'm finna get in trouble," because she started off by saying, "You can't have all this information for free," and I'm like, "Oh, hey, here's some information for free."
Yeah, you gave a lot of information for free. I wasn't ready. I was like, "Oh, I'm glad I had my stuff right here to jot this down."
Right.
But yeah, so you guys, if you Jennifer's gonna stay on as well. And we're gonna have our next speaker up. And so if you need time to think about some more questions that you may have for her, you'll be able to ask her some more at the very end. And so it looks like we're just gonna have one more speaker. And then so I'll bring you back up, Jen, okay?
Okay.
So yeah, that was awesome. I hope you guys were taking notes. I will make sure to replay this next week as well. So just in case you're driving or you're working, I know it's Saturday in the middle of the day. So just in case you're driving and you're working and you're like, yo, I didn't get to write nothing down, you'll be able to go back and look at it and get them nuggets. All right, next up, we are going to have, hold on. She said I have a full sheet. Yeah, me too, Estina. I mean, it looks bad. but it look, girl. And I wrote it in light blue. Bad choice of color. But okay. So moving forward. For some more information, we're gonna have Dr. Latoya Smith, the owner of LCS Counseling and Consulting.
Hey,
Thank you.
can me be a part? I appreciate it. Man,
Is it clear to y'all?
hold on.
It's like it sounds weird. Do it again.
Hold on.
You sound weird.
Alright, hold on. Do this. How about this? Is this better?
It still sounds like it. Let me hear you. Let me try it. Let me see. Okay, now say
You hear me? This is better. You want me?
Yeah, go back out and come back in. Okay. All right, y'all. So hold that thought. So let me play the business reel for you while we wait. We're having a little technical difficulties. So check this business reel out. It's got a few businesses on here, and ooh la la, let's go. All right. Woo! Check out those businesses, people. Let's try this again. Now I got to do the intro over again. Introduce it. Dr. Latoya Smith, owner of LCS Counseling and Consulting. And she also runs Strong Witness on Tuesday nights, the storytelling series. Give it up for Dr. Latoya.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. That's better.
All right. Good. Thank you, Alicia. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
And
I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I was prepped. I was ready. And then when it was my time, I don't know if it was my AirPods or what, but sorry about that. But we on here now.
Yeah, you on here. So that's fine. That's cool. Hold on. Let me turn my paper so I can take notes too.
Okay.
And then so I'm gonna let you have this and you just lead and guide me on what you want to do.
Got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody. So as Alicia mentioned, I'm going to start off with a few slides and then I'm just going to start talking and flowing. But what I'm going to be talking about today is mental health and and business. Now, I learned a lot from Jennifer, and as she's talking, I'm thinking about my Instagram and I'm like, woo, I gotta change a lot of things. So this business expo is good already, especially with the fonts. The fonts taught me a lot. So I appreciate that, Jennifer, for you even running that down. But Alicia, I don't know if you can put that slide up in the beginning. I just want to start a little bit there. But today we're talking about mental health as it pertains to your business. Now, mental health is important for everybody. Everybody needs to know the importance of mental health. So I'm Latoya Smith. I'm a licensed professional counselor. And you can stop it right there. We can hold on for a second or go back to the address. But I'm a licensed professional counselor. My office is here. It's in Fort Worth, right off of 30 and University, 1751 River Run. And you saw that graphic. It's the Instagram and the Facebook page. But now I'm like, man, I need to fix that Instagram. What Jennifer was talking about. But this is our team, some of our team, and we have 2 more women that need to be on there, but they're not on there just yet. And I wanted to show that mental health kit on there. So if you go to the website, LCS Counseling and Consulting Agency, so that's LCSCAC, and I don't know if Alicia, you can put that up there. People can go directly to the website and get that free mental health kit. It's a free packet that we have to give away that gives like helpful tips and pointers on mental health topics, right? So that's something that you can take for yourself and something that you can share with other people. So today, what we're going to be chatting about is the idea, the understanding of mental health and business. And I really want you all to think about the importance of taking good care of yourself, not just physically, but also when it comes to our mental health. I heard somebody say years ago, and I've kept it with me. The person said, every day we should go on a 15-minute vacation. And when I heard them say that, I was like, yo, that sounds good, right? And so now I don't want you to be too literal and think every day that I need to try to make my way down to the beach to see how far I can get before 15 minutes is up and turn back around. It's the idea that every day I should implement some me time, some self-care within the day, right? So I want you to take some time to think about that part, right? So I'm going to put a pin there, but we're going to come back to it at the end. I also want you to think about, there's all these statistics with this, right? So big corporations, they lose a lot of money when people are out. It is what it is. A lot of times people lose a lot of money when people are out for mental health reasons. So ideally, people want you, even the corporations want you to be able to take care of yourself because it's their money. But now if we're talking about our business and entrepreneurship and business, it's important that we take care of ourselves, not only personally for myself, but for my business. If I'm not well, if I'm not any good, I'm not going to be able to be effective in the work that I do. We know that phrase, we see it all the time. You need to mind the business that takes care of you. Is that how it goes? Or take care of the business that pays you. Okay, boom. I need to take care of LCS Counseling and Consulting Agency, but Latoya is LCS, basically, right? So when the paperwork, the documentation, there's other people here, but I'm the one who has the answer for it. So if I don't mind my business, which is Latoya, then how can I be effective in what I do? So I want you to think about that stuff as well. So, and then I want you to think about, you can stop the slide too, Alicia, I'm just going to flow right now. But I also want you to think about, even reflect back over this week. Okay. And I want you to think about, when it comes to business, when it comes to entrepreneurship or anything, what is some of the stuff that you carried that even stressed you out? I want you to think about how your body carries stress as well. I want you to think about those difficult moments, how you handled it, the times that made you laugh, the times that made you feel free. One thing I had to learn, I learned a lot um, the hard way in business, because see, I picked up and I did what I did and I did what I knew how to do. And now I find myself having to go back and fix some things. Um, but let's flow from there. So, Alicia, if you can start with those bullet points. These are a couple things I want you to think about when it comes to what takes away from your mental health. Hey Maddie, what takes away from your mental health as far as business and entrepreneurship? And I want you to think about how it affects you personally, and then how it affects the business. And that's a point that I was going to say. One thing I had to learn: before I had help, I was doing a lot of stuff myself. I hired people way too late, and it added stress to everything that I was doing. And a lot of times, see, the way I handled that stress was, man, I would leave work and I go right to Dairy Queen. I just eat a bunch of blizzards. And after a while, we all know, like, if you eat in blizzard, and I didn't eat a bunch in one day, but I ate them consecutive days, because that was the way that I was handling stress. And it's not good for you. And so, you know, for yourself, the things that you're doing that aren't healthy. But I want to talk about, okay, this is what we're doing that isn't too healthy, but I want to flip it. And I want to talk about what we can do that is healthy for us. Right. Yeah. A lot of times we work ourselves to burnout, but I want to back up and see what we can do as business owners. So, Alicia, I don't know if you have those tips. I want to talk about these things that may decrease your mental health. The first one is stress. And I don't know if you like this. Like, sometimes when I get stressed out, and the next thing I know, it's like, put your shoulders down. Like, I didn't even know I was that stressed and my shoulders were up like this, or I was that tense. And sometimes I have to remind myself, like, yo, chill, like, relax. Like, you know what I mean? Take a breath, because you're so much in work mode and you carrying so much. One thing in life and in business, the busier that we get, we decrease the things that are healthy for us. Right? We get so busy that we stop doing the things we enjoy and we just lock in. So what decreases your mental health is the level of stress that you have. And I want you to take some time to think about that. And on an average week, even this week, what are some things that stressed you out in business? What are some things that were just overloaded that you were like, hey, listen, this is too much. And man, this messed my day up, or I didn't know how I was going to manage and take care of this. All right. So the first thing is stress. The next thing that can decrease your mental health when it comes to entrepreneurs and business owners is not having absolutes. And that's the absolute truth when it comes to being a business owner. Some things we just don't know, right? We knew that when we worked for a corporation, we worked for that business, we knew our salary, or we knew our hourly rate. And for the most part, you knew what that check was going to look like every other week, once a month, every Friday. You know, you knew that if it was supposed to be this amount, and if it was short some money, you're going to go talk to HR and they need to fix it and cut you another check, right? But when it comes to being a business owner, those absolutes aren't always there. We don't know the exact amount that we'll see on that Friday. We don't know the exact amount. We don't know who's going to hold the check up over here. We don't know, is this person not going to show today, which is going to affect the finances. We don't know how things are going to play. So another part that can decrease your mental health and how you feel about you mentally and emotionally is not having that absolute. Okay. The next one, this is a big one too, is loneliness, especially when you just get started. Because a lot of times, like I was saying a minute ago, I was doing counseling for years, and I knew how the bullet points of how to do a practice and how to do therapy. But a lot of times when you set up shop and you're like, hey, here I am, and you know what I mean, you turn the light on, open for business, people don't come flooding in right away. And so it's the idea, okay, like boom, okay, like I'm out here. And we see those posts on social media where they talk about, oh, how's your little business? Like you get those questions a lot in the beginning, and it feels like you're isolated on this island and nobody else is here. Or you know that you believe in your business 110%, 200%. And it's like you're number one cheerleader, but then sometimes you feel like you out there because nobody else gets it like you get it. And so it's this feeling like, yo, I'm out here by myself, I'm isolated, and who else is with me? or some people kind of sitting to see if it's going to work, if it's not going to work, they don't know if they're going to root or not. And so it seems like it's a lonely place to be in. Or even when you do level up and you operating and running business, it's you that is behind the scenes and putting everything in. So it can seem like a lonely space sometimes. The next thing that can take away from our mental health, business and entrepreneurs, is this imposter up. Okay, it's difficulty being vulnerable. Sorry about that. I jumped to a different part. It's difficulty being vulnerable. In other words, like we were just saying a minute ago, it's this idea that, okay, I feel like I'm out here and I'm in this lonely space, but okay, well, I can't show up and be me and ask these questions because will they think I don't know what I'm doing? I heard Jennifer say, like, which is the truth. Like, we wanna show up and we want to be experts, or people won't come. I can't say, well, I kind of know how to do counseling, so, and I have an opening at 2. So, what I mean? So you can come on Tuesday if you want. Like, I don't think anybody's gonna show up for that. Right. But when I'm amongst my peers, can I ask a question? Or, it's kind of hard because I don't want anybody to think that I don't know what I'm doing. Or if I have somebody call me on the phone, I can't be vulnerable. I can't let them see that I don't know. But when I present and I don't ask the questions, that affects how I feel about me. So this idea that I have to always be and do somebody else and I can't show up and be real, that affects how I feel about me mentally and emotionally. You can go to the next one because I think I'm out of order. I want to make sure I stay right. I think imposter syndrome, there you go. That's the one where, and everybody's felt this one time or another. And a lot of times we feel this when we level up to something different, right? Imposter syndrome is this space that we get in when we begin to doubt ourselves and who we are. Well, I know how to do it, but they not gonna believe I know how to do it. Or I know how to do it, but nobody wants to listen to me anyway. Right. Or, you know what? I know I can do it, but you know what? Here's the one right here. I didn't get all the likes and the follows and the hearts and the shares that I needed. So it must not be any good. We've all felt this one time or another when we know we got the skill set, but it's like we got to believe that we are in the position to do it. Or we hear this a lot too, especially for therapists, that we're worth this amount, but nobody's going to want to pay this. So I'm going to put my amount down here and I'm going to attract more people. Right. So we've all felt these things. And it's this idea that helps to kind of decrease our mental health or comes against it. Like this idea, like I'm showing up and they're going to see right through me and they're going to call me out and they're going to say, you're not real and you don't know what you're doing. When we do know that we work for this, we worked hard for it and we train for it and we can show up and be ourselves. What's the next one you have there? I think that's my and the last one, this is the last one when it comes to decreasing mental health, is loss of identity. Okay, so when we're talking about what kind of things hinder mental health in business, what kind of things hinder mental health in entrepreneurship, is the loss of my identity. Yes, I own LCS Counseling and Consulting Agency, but Latoya Smith is more than LCS Counseling and Consulting Agency. So a lot of times I can feel less about myself. It affects my mental health. If I'm tied up in the business in such a way that if the business isn't doing well, then I'm not well, right? If I didn't get all these calls and clients this week, then I'm no good. So a lot of times what we do is we wrap ourselves up in this as if we're no other person or being other than the company. So a lot of people on here are parents, mothers, fathers, your good friends, your sisters, your aunts, and you may run a great therapy practice and you may be a wonderful painter, right? We're beautiful beings, but a lot of times what messes us up is that we just see ourselves through the vision of this company and that's it. We're the company 24/7 when we're so much more than that. So these points, the stress, not having absolutes, that feeling of loneliness and isolation, like we're on this entrepreneurship island all by ourselves and nobody is there, this imposter syndrome, and your identity, this loss of self, your identity being wrapped up, right, in the business, and then difficulty being vulnerable. This all can have a negative impact on your mental health, how you feel about you, and how you are functioning and doing day to day. And if we go back to the thought I said in the beginning, mind a business that pays you, it's going to be hard to do that if you're not in a healthy place mentally and emotionally. If you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to show up and do the work. You're not going to be able to answer client calls in a healthy way. You're not going to be able to be creative. You're not going to be able to plan, right? Because you're not healthy and you can't function. So boom, right? So that's something for us all to think about. And it's something we all do think about. So I don't want, anybody to think even therapists have arrived there. These are things that we talk about, right? But to stay mentally healthy, we got to check in on these things all the time. Same thing with physical health. We can't just say, you know what, I was an athlete in high school, so the rest of my life I'm good. No, we have to exercise, eat right, all that good stuff. Same thing with mental health. We may be great today, but it's a daily walk. Okay, so now I want to make sure I check in and we're going to talk about things that can help to boost your mental health, especially for business owners and entrepreneurs. Okay, so that was the stuff that can hurt it. Boom, right? We're going to put that there. But now we're going to talk about the stuff that can boost us up. Okay, so number one, this is the opposite of we're tied in with our business. Understand that you are more than your business. You love your business. Jennifer taught us about the vision and the mission. We know what we want to do with it. We are invested in it. We worked hard for it. And we are planting seeds so that it can be fruitful and it can be everything. But also understand that you are more than that. Like every business that is on here, you are so much more than that. So in other words, you know what? You're good. Just because maybe you had a bad day of business, maybe you had a bad quarter, maybe you lost a client to somebody else, it doesn't mean that you're horrible. It means that those things are true and it happened right then. But it doesn't mean that you can't come back and have a great fourth quarter. It doesn't mean that you can't gain 5 clients tomorrow. It doesn't mean that you're trash and you should shut your business down. It just means that, I want you to understand that you are more than that line, comma, LLC. Okay, you are more than this entrepreneur who is selling XYZ. You're so much greater than that, and all this is going into your business. So one bad thing doesn't define you forever. Okay? The next one, this is a big one. This kind of goes back to that loneliness place. Now that's going to be there sometimes, but something we all need to work on is finding that healthy tribe or a healthy circle. Now, too, I have a healthy tribe of entrepreneurs and business friends. Now, all of them aren't therapists, but I do have my friends who are therapists that I can call up on the phone and I can talk to, right? Or I can text and you can say things to them because they get it. They get the idea, like, man, I don't understand this insurance company. They get the idea of, man, I don't know what's going on. This is just hard right now. The things that you couldn't say to your homegirl or your homeboy that don't, they completely get it, and they'll boost you, and then you'll be there to boost them as well because you're talking the same language. Likewise, I have some business friends who are not therapists, but they understand business, and talking to them can be helpful because they got a whole different view of creativity that I'm like, wow, that's out the box of this therapy business I know, but that also helps me. I got a healthy tribe or circle that are not in business, but they know the things to say to me that can help to boost me. Right? Like I got people, and here's the big part of having a tribe and a circle. You don't need a bunch of yes people around you. You don't need people that will just be your cheerleaders and not also tell you about yourself. Right. So a great part of this mental health and boosting and helping us out are people that can tell us all about us. And then we got to take that thing and it got to hit sometimes, and they have to check us and put us back in line. Right. So you want to make sure that you have that healthy circle and tribe around you, because being on that island by yourself, that's going to lead to burnout. That's going to lead to you functioning just like the business and nothing else. And that's going to lead you to fizzling out. So you need those people around you. And if you don't have it, you got to make sure that you find it. And I don't know. I mean, sometimes it could be a Facebook group. I tell people all the time, there's a Facebook group for everything. You name the topic, I promise you there's 20 groups. And you may not know anybody, but you can find somebody to chat. But the other part is finding people that you can call, you can talk, you can be vulnerable with, and you can process. Because there's nothing more heavier that contributes to that stress than holding on to this weight of not talking at all. So find people you can kick it with, you can talk with and process with, and you can really be real, and they won't judge you or clown you because you had a incident in business that you didn't get, right? Or something went through, it didn't work out for you. And like I said, I got friends, when I make mistakes, I can call them. They can be like, yeah, that wasn't good, but something after that, right? So making sure you always have that healthy tribe or circle around you. And it could be more than one. Like I said, it could be just the people that know your business specifically. It could be business owners, and then it could just be your peer group. But it's important to have those circles and people that can speak into you and that you can also speak into as well. The next one's a really big one. All right. So if we're talking about things that help to boost our mental health, things that help to bring us back up, things that help to encourage us, right, as business owners and entrepreneurs, is about setting realistic goals and realistic expectations. So let me ask you this question, right? Let me ask you this question. What is success for you? I want you to think about that. You can put it in the comments. You can just think about it. So when it comes to your business, what is success? So if I'm thinking about a realistic goal, and I always do the extreme with clients, like I'll say just extreme. Okay, I can't say tomorrow my goal is to go to the moon because I'm not going to go to the moon tomorrow, right? So, but what's a realistic goal for me? In other words, I'm not setting myself up because I didn't achieve it. If I just started my business today, I don't want to say, you know what, I want Oprah to pull me up as an affiliate tomorrow. Like, it may not work that way to be her therapist mental health affiliate. Maybe that's 20 years from now. I don't know. But you want to set realistic, achievable goals for yourself. That way, if you don't meet them, they weren't so high that you couldn't get it. Now, I'm not saying you can't have $1 million year, and I'm not saying you can't have a 6-figure quarter. Quarter or a month. Those are all realistic, but you want to set goals that work for you. And you want to set goals that you know that you can a little bit out the box, but nothing that's going to make you feel like a failure because you didn't get it. Now, the other part that I'm glad I said that too, if we're talking about realistic goals and expectation, some of this with business, we know that sometimes we're not going to meet what we shoot for. Again, that's being realistic and understanding that I'm not a failure because I didn't get there. There's this quote, and I thought it was Nelson Mandela that said it, but it could have been somebody else. It says, I never lose. I either win or I learn. Right? So even when I don't meet my goals, I just learn something new. And I feel like I came up on that. Right? So I'm not a failure, and it's not like I'm trash. It's just that, you know what? I'm ever learning in this process of growing the business. And that's dope, right? To bring in the same amount monthly that you did for working for somebody else, right? That's a realistic expectation. And when you get there, boom, to level up, right? Like, that's a healthy goal. And those are things that we should be working towards. Now, a healthy goal for another healthy goal, right? Or a healthy goal would not be, now let me look at that therapist practice down the street, or Joe, let me look at this carpet cleaner over there. Now, when I set up shop day one, I want to make more money than them, and everything, my goals are to beat them. Like, that's not healthy, because now I'm so tied in with them that I'm not focusing on me. And now I'm depleting my mental health because my eyes are on them and not growing what was gifted to me. Right? So setting realistic goals and expectations should never be comparison with anybody else's, but it's about me. Like, I want to do better than I was doing here. That's what Joe just said, right? And that's realistic. But also understanding too, now in business, now I guess I'm trying to be careful not to use the word fail, right? So like we said, either win or learn. So we look at it as learning moments. So let me use the word learning opportunities or moments. That I've had some hard hit learning moments where I made some mistakes, and I'm like, yo, this is either going to cost me a whole lot of money, right? Or this is like, man, I feel silly having done this. This is embarrassing. Or, you know what, man, it kind of just hits you in the gut and makes you think, why would I do that? I know better. So I've had some moments where I really just, and I messed up. But one thing I do know is that a great victory. One thing I do know is that I was able to refocus in such a way that I came up right after that. So sometimes we think our lowest moments, and again, boom, I'm depleted. What's going to happen? That's a great time to skyrocket out. So if we're talking about setting realistic goals and expectations, expect that sometimes your efforts may not succeed on step one. Expect that sometimes you may fall short, but it doesn't mean that you messed up and it's time to fold the company. It means that you're about to bounce back in such a crazy way because what you learned from that situation. So with the goals, right? We're setting realistic goals, and we have to have the expectation with understanding that I may not get it on the first try, but I'm definitely going to get it, or I'm going to keep trying until I do get it. So sometimes you got to expect that I may not get it right away, but I got to keep going until I get it. Here's another one that I had to learn, and this year really hit me hard, that it's okay to hit the pause button sometimes. I'm a person who likes to dream, who likes to set the vision, who likes to just constantly go after it. Next thing, next thing, next thing. Until I realized that was tearing me up. Like, I'm getting tired. I'm losing track on the things that are before me. So what I've had to do was hit the pause button and say, you know what? Not that I don't still have those dreams and expectations. Not that I don't want that stuff. I have to focus on the here and now and what's in front of me. I had to step back and say, you know what? I got to cut this out. I got to do this. I got to cut this out, and I got to focus on this. I had to step back and say, you know what? I'm not going to go forward with this and that because I need to rework some of these systems, because what's before me ain't working like I need it to work. And so before I can go forward with bigger, I got to hit the pause button. It's okay to hit the pause button if we're talking about being realistic with our expectations. It doesn't mean that you're failing. It means that you're figuring things out again. Right. So if we're talking about leveling up, sometimes I got to get quiet, get still, and focus on what's important so that I can level up correctly. It's some things to learn, because sometimes we can watch businesses and we can watch these motivational speakers that are so hyped, and they always on to the next and the biggest and the greatest. And that is great for certain seasons. But we have to realize what season we're in as well. And sometimes it's okay to hit the pause button so that we can move forward in the healthiest of ways. All right. So setting realistic goals and expectations is big. But this next one, setting healthy boundaries. My goodness. Like this is huge if we're talking about mental health, not just for business, but also in personal life. All right. So I tell people all the time, boundaries aren't bad. If you're in a house, you own a house, you put a fence up, it's a boundary. And you're going to be real mad if your neighbor cuts a hole in the side of the fence and makes a swing door, or makes their own little doggy hole so their dog can use the bathroom in your yard and come back to theirs. Like, nah, like, this is my fence. I need you to respect my fence. I need you to respect my property. Right? So the same way we put that fence up around our yard, that's the same way we can put these boundaries up when it comes to business and when it comes to our personal lives. My boundary doesn't mean that I love you any less. My boundary doesn't mean that I don't have time for you. I don't respect you. My boundary means that I love me to take care of me, and I can still love you too. Right? We hear it all the time. If people trip about your boundaries, that's their issue, is not yours. Right? Those boundaries are huge. Now, when it comes to business, we also have to have these boundaries up too. Yeah. Like, listen, if somebody calls me a new client, and because my business phone line is connected to my cell phone, so sometimes the phone will ring 10 o'clock at night. Now, I know to listen to the voicemail if it's an emergency, that's something different. But if it's a new client calling, one, I'm not going to call you back at 10. Like, but and if it's emergency, I have on the phone, you need to hang up and you need to call 911 or go to the nearest emergency room. But if somebody was to call and chat, I'm not doing intake calls at 10 p.m. Right? We're going to do that the next day. We could do it at 10 a.m. We could probably do it at 8 a.m., but we're not going to do it at 10 o'clock at night. So a lot of times too, you have to decide your business hours and what hours you're working. It's going to burn you out. It's going to affect your mental health if there's no stopping point, if you're constantly 24/7 on the clock. So hours and schedules. Another time when it comes to boundaries is understanding when you do your best work. Like in the mornings. Now, I said I would answer the call at 8. I mean, I would, but I don't do my best work with other people at like 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, maybe 10. Like I don't do that. Like when I start my sessions, I'll go from 11 and I'll go down. And right now in this season, my last ones are like 5. I'm not a person that's going to do 8 a.m. therapy sessions. It wouldn't be good. Telehealth or in person. It just wouldn't be a good look. But I know to block off that time. That's my time to do admin stuff. That's my time to do social media posts. That's my time if I have meetings or I'm doing interviews with people. That's my time to take care of myself. Whether I leave working out in the morning at 6:15, and then I come home and I'll get in the word. That's my time to do that stuff. And I've gotten so good at it now that I protect it. And I'll say for myself, no, I can't have anything in those time slots. One, because I know I'm not going to be the most effective. And two, if I skip through that and it's blurred, then that messes me up. And I don't feel good for the day. Now, to flip that, you want to make sure that you're doing the best work or in the times that you're thriving or your best times. Right now, my most effective times that afternoon, like, I'm not saying I'm out here killing it, but hey, that 2 o'clock slot or something, like, yeah, I'll put you in there, like, boom, I'm wide awake, we here, we doing it. And so you want to make sure that, if you have people that pull you down are really difficult and tough clients, boundaries is saying, you know what, listen, if that's my thriving point where I feel like I can be most effective, maybe I shouldn't put people in those, that's right, protect your optimum time. Maybe I shouldn't put them in that 2 o'clock slot. Not that I want them in the 8 o'clock slot, but I know that, hey, I do this best work and I'm thriving. So, I got to balance my day out where who to put where and what to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, if my best time's 2 o'clock, I don't want to be driving 3.5 hours, so it's going to bring my mood down if I hate driving. I'm going to put those in different times. In the same way I said, listen, I work these hours are admin. Those are my boundaries. I had somebody call in recently. It was an insurance company, so it wasn't the person, but they were saying, okay, the client wants an appointment. I'm making this up. Fridays at 1 and Saturdays at 2, 3, and they would like to be scheduled. And I let the person know, the insurance person on the phone, that I don't see people on Fridays. That's one of my boundaries. And I don't see people personally on Saturdays. Now, somebody else here does, but that's not me. Now, if I always gave in and said, okay, well, I'll do it, okay, well, I'll do this, then my boundaries are down, but also my mood and my mental health are now down because I'm giving all of me to everybody else and I'm not taking care of me. Right. Put those office hours up there. And then we gotta protect our boundaries. Like I said a minute ago, if I'm always putting my fence up and then putting it down for the neighbor's dog to come through, nobody's going to respect it because I'm constantly moving where the boundary is. Right. So another part of boundaries too is understanding your tasks and your limits and your processes. One thing I had to learn is that I can't do everything by myself, nor should I do everything by myself because it'd be a horrible idea. Understanding that other people are good at things under the LCS umbrella, better at things than I am. Admin is not my thing. If we talking about making a spreadsheet or making a list and keeping that list tight, that's not my stuff. But understanding that, okay, that's somebody else's stuff and learning how to give that to somebody else. Now, a boundary for me is knowing that I can't pick it back up because I'm not good at it or I'm going to mess it up or I have too much on my plate and I have to learn how to delegate in a healthy way. So respecting that when it comes to, listen, this is my zone. This is where I thrive at. And I'm also going to have this boundary of I'm not going to mess with things that aren't healthy for me, but also that I'm going to delegate and I'm going to leave it right there. Right. So setting healthy boundaries are important. Healthy boundaries too, when it comes to communication, understanding that, sometimes clients will call or sometimes people will call in business and listen, there's ways that, respectfully that we can communicate with other people. But sometimes when we can't, hey, okay, well, this may have to end or I may have to refer you out. But understanding how boundaries work and understanding that a boundary is to protect me and my company. A boundary is to protect me and my person. And it doesn't mean I love you any less. It doesn't mean that I don't respect you. It means that I love me. I need to take care of me. That's right. Strengthen your strengths and then outsource your that part right there. And knowing that, I can do it and pick it back up. Nope. Understand, like, listen, that's not me right now. And if I want this to be effective, then I need to put this over there. And I need to be aware that these are certain things that I can't touch right now. All right. So the next one, let's see what we did so far. We're doing things that help to boost our mental health. We talked about you are more than your business, a healthy circle or tribe, setting realistic goals and expectations. We talked about healthy boundaries. I hope you all are thinking and brainstorming about boundaries. But this next one, obviously, I'm extremely biased. is therapy. Everybody, even your therapist, should have a therapist. Okay. So therapy is extremely important. It doesn't mean that something is wrong with you mentally. Therapy does not mean that you need to go off to a psych ward with padded walls. It's not the case. Therapy is 50 minutes to an hour that you can sit and you can process and you can chill and you can pour out. That's it. As business owners and entrepreneurs, we carry a lot of stuff. We have a lot on our mind. And we talked about you're more than your business. So, some of you, when you come home to little people being in the house or a spouse being there, or you're a caregiver to somebody else. You have so much stuff and so many things to carry. Utilize that time and that space to talk to somebody else that's completely unbiased and detached that you can just process with and pour out with. It's easy now because you can do it now. Telehealth, most therapists have, just like you're looking on the screen right now, you can do this screen and process a whole therapy session, 50 minutes to an hour. You can do it weekly, bi-weekly, once a month, but it's your time to do it. So do not neglect the importance of just therapy in that healthy space. The next one is big too, right? Be kind to yourself. And I've been posting about this lately. Nobody talks more harsher to us than we do. And I ask people this question a lot. Would you talk to your loved one, your child, or your spouse on a regular basis the way you talk to yourself? Exactly. That stigma is unfair, especially within the Black community. I think that we are starting to go to therapy more, but it just that idea that it's just uncomfortable to talk about, and like, I'm going to therapy, and then it's like, ooh. Like, I think now too, we got to fix our reactions when people say they go to therapy. It doesn't mean, it means they're healthy. Like, nobody would cringe when I say I got a doctor's appointment on Monday. Everybody's not gonna be like, ooh, like, you going to the doctor? Like, that's weird. Like, no, you going to therapy. I mean, I wish we would start applauding people who are strong enough to say, I go to therapy once a week, or I go to therapy to process how I feel to stay healthy. Right. So be kind to yourself and work on your self-talk. You wouldn't talk to anybody else. A lot of times the things we say to ourselves when we make a mistake, what's quick to come to our mind, and the names we call ourselves and how we put ourselves down, we wouldn't say that. Well, we probably, I mean, jokingly, we may say to somebody else. Sometimes we may say it, not all the time, not how we talk to ourselves. So you got to understand, going back to the realistic goals and expectations, sometimes we're going to make mistakes. Sometimes it's going to be hiccups. Sometimes we're going to miss that. Sometimes we're going to miss out on this. But you got to talk to yourself different, and you got to understand that you're human and you're going to make some mistakes sometimes. Now the next one's a very big one. And I think that we tend to underestimate this. And I don't know, Alicia, if you can put the slide back up and not have it run, but kind of just have it stay on each screen. Because if not, then I'll just talk through it. But when it comes to what self-care is, now, what happens a lot of times for self-care, what we think that it is going to get your nails done, or self-care is, if you go to the one, you can keep going, and then if we could just stop it at the little box. But a lot of times we look at self-care as if it's just going to get our nails done or just going to get our hair. That one right there, if you can stop it right there. And self-care is way more than that. And I'm going to get into what it is some more. But I want you to understand that self-care is a constant act to take care of your mental, physical, and emotional health. All that is tied up into your care. And the part that I really want you to get is that it is constant. It's an everyday thing. It's not just, listen, my self-care is Saturdays at 2 because that's when I get my nail, but not every Saturday because I'm on a budget. So my self-care is Saturdays at 2 at least once a month because that's when I'm with my nail tech and I get my nails done. Like, that's not going to work. Right. So remember, we're going to go back to that question I asked in the beginning, that every day we should go on a 15-minute vacation. So we're understanding that it's constant. It always is always happening, or it should always be happening, that we're taking care of our mental, physical, and emotional health. The next thing I need you to understand is that self-care requires that you take responsibility for these things. We can't blame anybody else that our self-care isn't where it needs to be at. It's called self-care. That means it's my responsibility to take care of these things. Because if we have healthy boundaries in place, then we know that this is a step to me taking care of me. If I'm talking to myself, right? If I'm boosting myself and not constantly putting myself down, okay, I'm taking care of me and my self-care. If I'm setting realistic goals for myself, if I'm not so focused on somebody else's business that my business is not thriving, I'm taking care of me. If I'm putting healthy people around me, like that tribe and that circle, and I'm not having people around me that will doubt me, or people around me that just aren't giving me good advice or opinions, I'm learning to take care of me. So it's a constant act, and it's my responsibility. So if we can go to that cup, that coffee cup, Alicia, where it says self-care, and we hear this phrase a lot. The phrase that says that we can't pour from an empty cup. I don't know if you can put that graphic up there so everybody can see it, but we've seen the like that. There you go. So thank you. We can't pour from an empty cup. And listen, I love coffee. I can drink coffee. Unfortunately, I guess I shouldn't drink it all day, but I can. I can drink coffee all day. I love it. And if somebody gave me a cup of coffee, or whatever it is that you love to drink, if somebody gave you a cup of that and wasn't nothing but like what they say, a swallow at the bottom, a sip at the bottom, you're gonna be mad. And you probably gonna throw the coffee cup back at them, or you're gonna have some words for them. Right? You're gonna be so mad because they had the nerve to give you this little bit, and why wasn't it filled up? Right? Like, I want my stuff full, but I want it full of what I love. And the idea that I can't pour from an empty cup means I can't. Okay, there's something in that cup. I was about to pour it out, and it was gonna splash everywhere. But I can't give anybody anything that's not in this cup. I can't give back to my business if I'm on E. That ain't gonna work. Right? Now, the other part, just like your car, or maybe nobody else does it but me. Just like my car, when that John, like, it starts going down, like it's going down to E, and then when it hit the 2 in the gas light, I know how far I can go. Now I got it down. I know how far I can measure it. Boom. Until I get back to the gas station to fill up. I know where the gas station at. I know where the cheaper gas is at. But that's not, you're not supposed to do it that way. Like, yeah, I have it down and I know it, but that's not how we should be operating. Right? The same thing with us. We can't work ourselves to burn out, realizing that I'm on E and I can't keep pushing. That's not healthy. So when we hit that next screen, Alicia, where it talks about, okay, what hinders your self-care? I want you guys to think about these things. What's taking up space in your cup? It should be one before that. And then the last one, who or what is stealing from your cup? That one right there. So I want you to think about things. When we think about that full cup, for me, it's coffee. For you, it's whatever. It's probably water. I don't know, whatever you drink, right? There you go. As soon as a negative thought creeps in, I rebuke it. If I lose to the thought, I take the next day to rebound. That's excellent, right? As soon as it creeps in, just stop it. We call it thought stopping. Rebuke it. Nope, not here, not today, right? Automatically stop. Stopping the thought. The other part too is replacing it with a positive thought. Maybe I messed up and I double booked 2 clients. Oh, I'm the worst therapist ever. I told you I'm not good at admin. My whole day is ruined. Or I can say, because I've done it before, or I can say, you know what? I messed up. How can I fix this right now? I can apologize to both. You know what? Everybody messes up. I imagine I'm not the only therapist in the world who may have double booked 2 people today. And being realistic, like, it happens, but understanding that, you know what, I made a mistake at this 2:00 slot, but I did the best I can to recover. So understanding that I'm stopping that thought of that negative self-talk, I'm gonna replace it with a positive, and I gotta push forward. So when we look at that cup, I want you to think about what hinders yourself. Who or what hinders your self-care? Who or what is taking up space in your cup? And who or what is stealing from your cup? Who has a little hole poked in the bottle? So every time you pour coffee, it's coming out. It's not even staying in there. Because if we can't pour from an empty cup, I want you to think about what's the healthy things that fill your cup up. And your cup should be full of those things. Because sometimes we have stuff in our cup that's just clutter. And it's affecting our pour. Right? So when we talked about if I don't have any boundaries and people are, are calling and I'm doing this and doing that, now it's just clutter in my cup. And now I can't even pour because there's so much stuff in there absorbing what's out. And I'm not able to pour back into the business like I need to because my mind is constantly on X, Y, and Z. Or I can't effectively, as the owner, cast a healthy vision for the business and watch it scale and grow because I'm constantly down here doing the basic things because my systems weren't right in the first place. Again, I had to learn the hard way when it comes to business. As the business grows and people are at it, I can't be the one answering every single phone call, returning all the emails, calling all the insurance companies, seeing every last client. I'm going to burn myself out. And now things are in my cup that is just clutter and I have nothing to pour out because everything else absorbed what I had to give. So I want you to take some time to think about your cup and really think about these questions for yourself. What's going in? Who's hindering the pour? And who's just stealing? Let me see the next slide. This one, right? So it's important to build our self-care toolkit. And I call it a toolkit. I guess it's called a toolkit. But it's this idea that if you think about the toolkit, I think I used to have one in my car in my trunk. It may be there. I don't know. I think I have one at home. But it's the idea that you take that thing wherever you go. Remember, I asked the question in the beginning. We talked about every day you should go on a 15-minute vacation. That means every day you should be intentional about having something in there that fills you up, fills your mental health up. Okay, that boosts you. And when I talked about this last week with a group, and I don't know all the tools, so just bear with me when I go through some of these tools. But if a hammer is in the toolkit, right, and a hammer is that heavy hitter, then we know that in my mental health toolkit, in my mind, the hammer, what's that self-care tool that I know when I pull that thing out, that's my heavy hitter, that's my go-to. I need that thing. Right. So you're not going to pull out the hammer all the time, but we know that hammer may be, that may be unplugging. I'm at a point right now where, hey, I need to take care of my mental health. So listen, I'm putting that phone on Do Not Disturb. I don't even want to watch Netflix, Hulu. I just need to cool out and chill on my porch and listen to the birds chirp, or a certain time of year sit around the fire pit. Maybe that hammer is that heavy hitter. That's what you use. Maybe something like a screwdriver is used a little bit more often. So maybe a screwdriver is, listen, when I know what's going to boost me are these certain sets of podcasts, or this is my dope playlist. When I put this on, I need to cool out. That's what I need right now for this day. Right? Maybe it's a wrench. I'm talking now. I'm just naming tools that I don't really know. But like the wrench and whatever else is in there, I think it's pliers. So, this is the idea that you pulling these things out. And it's okay when you think about your own mental health toolkit to label each tool and kind of have in your mind, I know this tool does this. I know this tool is extra handy and versatile. I can use it for X, Y, and Z. And somebody said, they even put me down to it when I did this presentation last week. They said, yeah, like there's a razor cutter in there. So you got to cut away people and things that don't mean you any good. And I was like, man, I told them I was going to use it. But it's just that idea that in my toolkit, listen, this got to go. Or this is cut. I know these things can't come in here today. You know what I'm saying? Like boom, this is a part I got to add, but this right here got to be cut. But when you think about what you need from day to day, I want you to think of it like certain tools. And I'm pulling this one out for this use, and I'm pulling this out for this use, right? And now that jar, the jar is cute. So it's not a toolkit. And so it's not as a, you can look at it like this handy thing I'm carrying. So the jar is something that you can sit, let's say this is not a jar, but this is a, what is this? We put the flowers in a vase or vase, right? So if this was a little jar, then I want you, when you put this on your desk, I don't care if you got something in your car you can pull from or wherever it is, but you can take things like this, right? These popsicle sticks. Okay. So you can label them with healthy self-care things that you can do. Then you put it in the jar, and then when you need it, you pull it out. And this is what I need for this moment. Right. So you may pull something out of, I don't know, maybe it's sit in silence and do a mindfulness activity for 10 minutes. That means you kind of sit You kind of process, and that's what you do. Maybe you pull one out that says, go for a walk, and you get up and go for a walk. Now, I know in Texas it's a little warm, so you're not walking at noon for like 2 miles. Maybe that's not the move. But it could be that the way the building is shaped is that when I get up from my desk, I'm going to the restroom maybe, but I'm taking the long way back on purpose because I need to process and I just need to before I get back to my seat. Maybe it's again, I'm playing my certain playlist. Maybe it's I'm reading that poem and it's a reminder. I'm reading my favorite scripture that I have written. But it's the idea that in this jar, I can also create this self-care plan that I'm pulling out what I need for that moment to remind myself about my 15-minute vacation, to remind myself to kind of get my thoughts back on track and to relax and to chill. And I don't have to go 90 miles per hour all the time. Some things that I enjoy, and I want you to think about, like when it comes to your toolkit as well, is that, and I tell people this all the time, your toolkit, now maybe those are the tools that you see in a toolkit, but our stuff does not have to look exactly the same. Like I don't have to have the same stuff you have in yours because so yeah, you could throw punch can go on there. I just don't want you to get in trouble. But yeah, you can put that on there. If you pull it out, you gotta do what you gotta do. But our stuff don't have to, everybody's toolkit may not be exact. And I say this all the time and I mean it, and there's not a day that I don't mean it. I work out, I do Camp Gladiator at 6:15 in the morning when I do get up, but whatever. But I know that I'd rather do Camp Gladiator and work out outside than go to yoga. I'm not going to be any good going to yoga because I can't do the poses and I giggle and it's distracting and it's just not healthy. And I'm not wasting my money on that. That's not the move. As my friend told me, my homegirl, she said, listen, I'm not going to Camp Gladiator because I'm not paying to work out outside. That's not what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's this idea that self-care for me is not yoga. 20 people can go racing to yoga. I'm not going to yoga. Like that's not fun to me. Right? So you got to figure out what works for you. I love that I can go on a walk. I'm going to walk for like 4 miles with a good playlist and a podcast, and I feel way better. Somebody else may walk a block and be like, it's too much, and I'm turning around. That's not yours. I did a talk last week. Some guy said, I love to take naps on weekends, and people just laughed at him, and he did not care. He's taking a nap for an hour. That's what he does. That's his self-care. So everybody's toolkit is going to look different, but you got to decide what works for you. If you listen to music, it may not be the same music as somebody else, but you got to decide what's yours. Find a podcast that boosts you and fills you up. I say it all the time too. I love podcasts, but I'm not listening to therapy podcasts when I get done doing therapy all day long. That's not what I want to do with my time. That I want to listen to something completely different when I get in the car. yeah, look, yoga, I can't do it. You know what I mean? I can't, the poses and just sitting and I start laughing. I don't know. It's not, but they're all in there serious. It's not my thing. Right. So understanding what your self-care is, it could be church, right? Bible study is, I love it I need that I look forward to it on Wednesdays. I need that to my boost to go on the other days. Right. Some people love to write and journal. I may write a paragraph right then or write something in my phone, but every day journaling, that's not going to be me. You got to figure out what your self-care is and be comfortable with that everybody else's doesn't look like yours. So make sure, if you leave anything with this segment today, I really want you to think about the things that boost you and be intentional about adding that to your day, at least 15 minutes. Sometimes it's sitting in silence. Sometimes it is good music. Sometimes it's reading the book. Sometimes it's cooking. People love to cook as their self-care. Some people like to take a bath. I mean, we're showering every day, but like intentional bath as their self-care, right? Maybe it's light a candle. Maybe it's like a beautiful scent from the candle, like Bath and Body. Whatever you do, but I need you to figure out at least 5 healthy self-care tips each day to go on that 15-minute vacation. So you can do a kit or you can do a jar. And these last slides, I love this person on Instagram. Like the things that I don't know where she gets this from, but her comments are so dope. And if you guys should go follow this person as well. And I guess Jennifer, this is like part of her branding, where she writes these little cards, but these little tips that she gives, I don't know if you could put the next one up, Alicia. Or I can just read one. Next one talks about, says, repeat after me. What I was able to accomplish this week is enough. I gave my best effort. I will not use the weekend to beat myself up. I will rest and I will enjoy my time off. And I love these notes that she does, but that one right there just talks about the idea that, listen, again, this is self-care and this is me looking at my mental health. Like with this week, if I look back, or I did the best that I could with what I had. Every time I showed up, I showed up. Every time I showed up, I gave my best. I'm not beating myself up because it didn't work out as I had intended with my realistic expectations. It means I just learned a little something right now. Right? So yeah, she's dope, Jennifer. I like her a lot. Another one that she has, I do not have to work myself to the point of breakdown to prove that I'm dedicated to my dreams. I'm most effective when my cup is full. So that goes back to the cup we talked about, what we just talked, in other words, success for me is not when Friday comes and I'm passed out in the office because I went hard all week. That's not success. Success on Fridays is skipping out of here at a reasonable time and feeling great when I will go home that I did the best that I could. Success is when I get done one task, knowing that I put my all into it, they have my focus, and I feel good. Success is not halfway doing it, but success is also not burnout. And another one that she has that is dope, I wanted to make sure I said, I will not waste Sunday worrying about the responsibilities of Monday. I choose to be mindful, to be present, enjoying and savoring every moment of today, of this day. And I want everybody to get that when it comes to this day. It doesn't make any sense for me. It's not healthy for me. Talking about negative self-talk, that I'm wasting this moment. I'm wasting Saturday focusing on my day on Monday. Like, that steals from me today. It steals from my mental health and it depletes me and where I want to go because I'm so far looking ahead about the worries of next week. How about I enjoy today? How about I be mindful? I be right here. I'm not thinking about the week that went behind me. I'm not thinking about, whoo, I got so many clients to see next week and a presentation. I'm enjoying Saturday and I'm staying right here. And so I want you all to think about, remember, what you need to work on, what I would like for you to work on is defining at least 5 self-care tips that work, self-care strategies that work best for you, not for anybody else, you, right? Right. Like, already thinking about, boom, I'm already behind, like, because I'm already casting a vision for next week. I want you to think about, you're more than your business. You're so much more to you, right? You're so, like, so if the business, maybe you didn't have a successful quarter or a successful week like you wanted to, but it doesn't mean that your business it should fold. Okay. Because you're so much more than that. There's so many different parts to you, right? I want you to think about your healthy tribe or your circle, finding the right people to speak into, the right people you can pour into as well. When you think about setting realistic expectations and goals, remember, it's either win or you learn. We're not out here failing. We just learning and we getting it right. I want you to set healthy boundaries, which means that you love yourself, you're protecting your stuff, you're protecting your person. Find a therapist. I'm always biased on this one. LCS counseling consultant. We got some really dope therapists here. And then we should know some other therapists, so we can always work it out. Most therapists are doing telehealth, so you don't have to travel in. Be kind to yourself. Talk right to yourself. Your self-talk is extremely important. Don't beat yourself up for something everybody else may be doing too, right? Not that you're everybody else, but just don't beat yourself up. And then lastly, that's self-care. Every day, go on a 15-minute vacation. Every day, chart out time for yourself to enjoy life, to be present, to laugh with your family, to eat with your family, to kick it, to chill, and to get all that you need to fill back up. So that was it. We're talking about mental health for entrepreneurs and business people. So I hope you can take those things and take good care of your mental health. Okay, make sure your cup is full of the most important things. So thank you, Alicia. I appreciate you allowing me to be a part of Polished News Network Business Expo. I appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you. I'm like, the computer is freezing and I'm trying to write down stuff and then I'm trying to change the slide. I was like, man, I'm trying to get this right now. I'm trying to write this stuff down. But yeah, no, that was really good because I definitely wrote down the whole 15-minute vacation per day because yeah. Look, that was a great session, right? So that was they're talking about how much do I owe you? Because Jennifer said it too. I was like, this feels like a therapy session. Like I need to pay you something. It's like because I mean it was very helpful and a lot of things that that we struggle with as business owners and we like the whole you being the business and it's like you're more than the business. I was just like, ouch, this hurts so bad. Somebody needs to he is too much. But yeah, let me bring Jennifer back on here as well. Okay. Okay, there she is.
Yeah, it would help if I unmuted myself.
Oh, okay, yeah. I stay doing that. You're like, I can't hear you. I was like, okay, wait a minute. But yeah, hold on, let me take this off real quick. Yes, if you guys have any questions for these ladies, this is a good time to ask right now. Tamisha, you got your thing working? Let me see.
Can't.
Oh,
I know.
Hello. I experienced
Hey.
what Dr. Lataria was talking about. I experienced, yeah.
Glad you on here.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're glad you made it. You made it. You caught the tail end, but you made
I
it.
know. It is such a blessing because I was experiencing it. I told you everything Dr. Smith was talking about. I was experiencing that right now today going.
Yeah, so Demetria is the one that came up. She was like, we need to do something together. We need to do something. And so we're like, let's do something, for people who are in business, for entrepreneurs and business owners. Like let's do something. Let's have an event. And so since we decided to go virtual, because of COVID and everything, but I know, Demetria, you have your own publishing company, right? Like, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I'm really just establishing and working on it. I do it with my grandson right now doing children's books. So he wrote this story called I Hate the Sun. So I'm helping him with that in a few. Yes, we talk about the sun daily, how it slaps him across the face. So I was
Wow.
like, okay, I'll help write a little children's book. But I've been learning a lot about being an independent writer and also publishing. A lot of people think publishing companies make gobs of money. It just depends on how many authors you have in order to make that money. Technically, you don't make as much as people think you do.
Oh,
So, but
wow.
yeah, you really don't when you think of everything that you have to do. But I learned quite a bit with publishing my own books and then trying to help other people. Like I learned a lot about copywriting and like was already said, is just having someone to do the artwork on a book. Like I'm not an artist. So I started out doing my own artwork and I was like, this will work for now. But getting somebody paying them to actually do a good job is way better than me trying to do. So it's
Right.
less stressful. So it's really great. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, well, if you have something small, I kind of show people how to, I don't know, at least copyright they work and how to put out like a CD. I call it a CD because back in the day, people used to do like those one track records and CDs just to hear you, just to hear their music. So I'm like, this is a sample. You give them this. If it's a short story, let them get to know the writer, who you are, so that they'll buy the main books when you start really getting into the mainstream because you want to publicize yourself.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what you have going on next Friday. But I can get you on here next Friday so you can break that down with writing the books and how to write a book, because I know we were laughing because I was telling you that people are writing books and they're not using punctuation, and that bothers me. And so yeah, so I really want you to be able to dig deep into that and really talk with everybody on now that like Jennifer saying, you have all your branding in order, and like Dr. Smith was saying, and then you get your mental health together, and all these lovely notes I took that I'm gonna have to type up and tape to the wall. It's like once you get all of that in order, and you know, like I'm an expert in this particular area, you can start writing books and publishing this information that you know. And so I really want you to be able to have more time to dive deep into that. So put me on your schedule for Friday
I
at
certainly
8
will.
and we can have you back on, just you by yourself, and you talking about the publishing, and send me some slides or
I
whatever
will.
bullet points you want, and we can have you on Friday. You could be my guest on Friday.
Yay!
Yay!
I will. Thank you. I will.
Dr. I would love to learn more about how to write a book. Looking forward to the interview. Yes, ma'am. So we're definitely gonna have y'all tune in Friday. We're gonna have Tamitra on here, and she's gonna break it down, and we're gonna take some good notes, and we're just gonna keep growing our community of entrepreneurs and business owners, and become successful together, and encourage each other. And it's funny that you said that about the circle of friends, because I talked to Jennifer about business stuff. And so it's just like, hey, Jen, guess what? The such and such and the
She's
such and
on
such.
point. Jennifer's on point.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's good. And then, Dr. Latoya Smith, we talked too. And it's beautiful relationships.
Mhm.
And I'm just excited for all three of you, and that you took out time on a Saturday, and you three were the first ones. Like, you were the first ones I asked to speak for the Business Expo, and the first ones to say yes. And then some people kind of drag me around a little bit, but that's okay. It's fine. It's cool. It was great. It was great. And so let me put up. So if you need to reach Jennifer at Nicole's Designs, NicoleDesigns.co. That is so dope. When you taught us about the .co, I was like, yo, we behind the times. And so they can reach you there. And so that way we can get up on our branding.
Yes,
And of course, I already told you my plans for you to have you back on here.
yes, ma'am.
And we're gonna drop some pre-recorded stuff, some little nuggets, so that way she's pretty much gonna have her own segment on P&E, and so that's gonna be super exciting.
That's dope.
And then Dr. Latoya Smith with LCS Counseling Consulting. The key thing that you said is that we all need therapists, and I need to make an appointment.
Everybody needs a therapist.
I was like, who else is on here needing an appointment? You need an appointment. You need an appointment. You need an appointment. I need an appointment. We all need an appointment. Yes, most definitely. And so I'm pretty much just gonna take your strong witness videos and post them to PNN on Tuesday nights. So it's just like, here is your mental health segment through strong witness. Like, I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, so you guys can reach her here. This is her website. And are we able to book appointments through the website?
Yeah, anybody can go on there and not book appointments, but email us for an appointment or start a chart. And also they can go on there and get that free mental health toolkit. There's different mental health tips to share with others, or just to download for themselves, like a PDF workbook.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna download that and put that on here. And so I know, Dr. Latoya Smith, you're already in the business reel. So Jen, I need your info and stuff so I can put you in the business reel to play that every week. And I need your info as well so we could do that. But I thank you guys so much. This was so awesome.
Yeah, it was dope. Thanks for doing it. I'm excited.
Yeah, we got a lot of info, so I'm super excited about that, to go over my notes and see what I need to improve on, and because it's always room to grow and learn, and I just love it. So you guys make sure you check out their websites. We're gonna have to meet you on next Friday. So we'll have all your info and everything up at that moment, so that way you can get your full time that you're supposed to have today.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fix my fonts, Jennifer. I'm gonna try step one. I'm gonna make sure all my fonts are the same. I'll be doing whatever fits and whatever looks right. But I'm gonna fix my fonts this week.
Right. Definitely gonna do that. So you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I'm gonna go get cake and ice cream wasted.
That's fun. Happy birthday.
Thank you. So so y'all have a good one. You guys tune in on Tuesday for Strong Witness with LCS Counseling and Consulting, and stay tuned for the branding and marketing segment on PNN with featuring Jennifer. And on Friday we'll have Tamitra on there as well to tell us how to put what we know in a book, how we can publish it, all that good stuff. So you guys enjoy your Saturday. Bye.
Be blessed. Bye-bye.